Hi everyone! Today we have our 3 competing winners for the final poll. If you're new here, we are currently at the very early stages of creating a game together, this community and myself, and at the moment we're still defining the game. Last week I've been drafting at random 3 game genres, and for each of these genres 3 game mechanics, and this generated 3 polls where all of you who want to take part in this project have voted. So now it's time to reveal the 3 genre mechanic combinations that won the first polls and that made it to the final poll. So, the first poll was centered on the survival genre, and survival combined with the exploration mechanics hugely outran the 2 other combinations. I did mention that survival and exploration is the most common combination we have here, but you guys and girls actually came up with interesting ideas in the comments of this poll. EKT Moji mentioned survival exploration as a nomad game where you need to keep moving to find better and better resources, and I feel like this concept has convinced part of you at least. We have Art Aeroflor that imagines being a scholar traveling across a continent and discovering lost civilizations. A game that could be a bit more about the ambience and discovering things with a real focus on discovering knowledge instead of a classic survival game where you'll be piling up items and materials. And this knowledge could be, for example, the location of resources that help you survive. That's an interesting idea that was also followed by Cali Cow and Flixie Wixie and Yog79 all seem to agree on a nomad concept, and that does seem interesting. If survival plus exploration makes it as the final winner, I might be very annoying. It would really have to set itself apart from most survival games that do have exploration mechanics. Raft, where you're basically exploring, Subnautica, The Long Dark. Such a good survival game, and in The Long Dark, if you don't move and if you don't explore, you die really fast. So I guess we'll have to be creative on this one. Survival plus drafting came second here, and I'm kind of disappointed it did. This first comment here from Guacamole was actually super interesting. It had a core idea that was really nice. Surviving as a bloodline, where when you're faced 2 choices, you pick one of these choices and the other choice goes to your future child. It's been explored in, I can't remember the name of the game, maybe you guys have it. And you basically survive as a tribe. You start alone, but then you have children and you play these children. But here in the drafting mechanic, it would have been super innovative. Anyway, let me bring you to the next poll. The second poll was focused on the farming sim genre, and this poll was an interesting one where all of the choices made a decent score, but it was farming plus deck building that made it to the top. The most, let's say, classic approach of this combination would be to have a deck that consists of a bag of resources like crops, fertilizer, water, animals, I don't know, so that would be your deck and you'd have to play them in a way, and it would be something I'd really be curious of playing. There was one comment on the previous video that really stole my heart. Connor that had the idea of a game where this combination is almost reversed and you're growing cards. You have like bags of card seeds, you know, like common card seeds, rare card seeds, and you grow these cards to then use them in your deck and fight enemies and bosses maybe. So that's my personal favorite idea. Of course, if you guys have more ideas, feel free to drop them in the comments. As usual, I love reading them. I've actually never thought of this way of combining farming and deck building. Thanks for bringing it up. We might end up building this game, and I would love that. So that was our second winner. And now for the last poll. So for this poll, we have a very clear winner. Dungeon Crawler plus Automation clearly wins the round compared to Dungeon Crawler plus Resource Management and Dungeon Crawler plus Deck Building. And I'm glad it did, because I actually have an interesting idea for this one. So you'd have a dungeon to explore, of course. As you explore the dungeon, the creatures become more and more tough to kill and would require specific equipment or specific resources to eliminate. For example, you could need like frost potions to use as ammo in a crossbow, and to craft these frost potions you would need to have a fully functional running factory that could stretch across the whole dungeon. And the base resources to run these factory could be of 2 types. You could have like stone and ores, but I think one interesting path to go would be if the base resources were actually dropped by the creatures in the dungeon themselves. So the core gameplay loop would be you go off to fight creatures, these creatures drop items you need to refine in your factory, you use these resources to craft better equipment and weapons, and then you go off even further in the dungeon with this new equipment. You discover new types of resources that are dropped by even tougher monsters, and as you go further and further in the dungeon, you have to set up an efficient logistics system to carry the items from the place that were dropped by the monsters to your actual factory where you're refining the stuff. I don't know if I've made my idea clear, but it's an idea I would really love exploring. So the final puzzle is now defined with survival plus exploration, farming plus deck building, or dungeon crawler plus automation. Again, feel free to drop your personal preference or your new idea in the comments down below. By doing so, you might earn a few votes for your personal preference.
And why don't you also say it helps referencing the video, you hypocrite?
I personally really enjoy all of the combinations. Whichever combination makes it to the final puzzle, I'm pretty sure we will find a super interesting way of implementing this genre mechanic combination. And by the way, we do have a last puzzle to generate. Remember in the last video I mentioned an asset pack puzzle. I will also publish a last puzzle with a selection of asset packs from the MiniFantasy universe. Today is a historic day for this channel. This is the first video ever sponsored. I am honored to be officially sponsored by the MiniFantasy Assets. For those of you who have been following me since my first projects, you know how much I value these amazing pixel art visuals. I stumbled upon them randomly while I was scrolling through itch.io. One of these asset packs caught my attention. And not only was I charmed by this low-resolution pixel art, but I also discovered a whole universe. Fully animated creatures, different biomes, unique landmarks, a whole bunch of animated workbenches for all kinds of professions, weapons, magic and spells, and countless miscellaneous content I'll let you discover. Personally, when I started this journey, the main problem I encountered was finding art assets that would allow me to create the games I had in mind. Since I had very limited funds when I started, actually still the case today, I couldn't just hire an artist to work for me and do all the visuals I needed. I also realized that picking asset packs from different creators to meet your personal needs for your project often end up in having a game that feels like a combination of different asset packs with no visual coherence. Coming across these assets was like a blessing to me because first of all, you get a huge amount of content for a very low price, and most importantly, all of these separated asset packs can be combined with each other in all different kind of ways. So I realized I could literally build all the games I had in mind with this collection, and the collection is still growing with one new asset pack every month. Tell me, Krishna, he's the creator of these assets, how am I supposed to stop having new game ideas? I already have the next like 5 projects planned, and they keep piling up with all your new content. To this day, there are 49 asset packs released, which are already hugely discounted if you buy the whole bundle. To celebrate this brand new sponsorship, MiniFantasy is offering a discount on this already huge discount specifically designed for the viewers of this channel. I wish you all a good time discovering these assets. You can grab the discount through the link in the description. Thanks so much to MiniFantasy for being the first official sponsor of this channel. And now let's get that final poll running. So I've been thinking that selecting one of these asset packs and making it a reference for our game would help us to narrow down the scope of the game, to find ideas, boost our creativity. Since I'm releasing the final poll and the MiniFantasy asset pack poll at the same time, I tried selecting assets that would fit every combination. Let me present them to you. So the first asset pack I selected The MiniFantasy mounts. So in this pack, we have a huge variety of mounts,
Creatures and animals from the MiniFantasy universe that were turned into mountable creatures. We have the classic idle, walk, and damaged animations, and for aggressive mounts, we also have an attack animation. In this pack, we also get a bicycle, a unicorn, a warhorse, a magic carpet, and a canoe.
So that's the mount pack. The second pack I selected, crafting and professions. And in this one, I'm not only including one pack, but two, because there are two crafting and professions pack. Crafting and professions 1 includes 3 gathering professions, mining, logging, and harvesting. 5 crafting professions with 9 associated workstations. We have a blacksmith, we have the woodwork. I mean, just look at these animations, like seriously, they're so... I'm impressed at how much detail you can get with such low resolution. Yeah, the woodwork, the tailor with a spinning wheel and loom, the jewelry, the alchemy, and of course all the icons for the resources, materials, and craftable items. So that's the first crafting and professions. And for the second one, we have more crafting and professions. Fishing, hunting with animals, and hey, I've been using these animals in my last project actually. Bug catching, alright, why not? 3 more crafting professions with a cooking profession, a leatherwork profession with a leather workbench, the dyeing profession with a dye workshop, and more icons for the resources, the materials, and the craftable items. Finally, the last choice in this poll, very particular choice, temples and shrines. So here, this is an asset pack less focused on animations and more landmark asset pack. In this asset pack, we have a huge tile set to build different temples and shrines. I really like this asset pack and I haven't been able to use it in my projects yet.
Hey, Julian from the editing here. I just realized YouTube allows up to 4 options on a poll, so I thought, why not add a 4th option? Let me present you the Enchanted Companions pack. This pack features 18 new magical or enchanted creatures to be used as companions for our player character, if we have a player character. In any case, they also can be used as regular creatures. They all feature a summon and banish animation, and they each have a particular animation related to their nature. So that's our 4 asset packs wrapped up. Back to video recording Julian now.
I wasn't entirely sure if I should have started with the final poll for the game genre plus mechanic, and then considering the final winner, popping up 3 asset packs that would fit the poll, or if I should, like I'm doing now, published both polls at the same time and trying to select asset packs that would fit all of the 3 game genre mechanic combinations. I went for the second approach, and we might have very interesting surprises. You know, this is still the first time I'm building this concept, so I might not be doing it the best way. Things are not written in stone. We can always come back to decisions we've made before if we realize it's a huge mess. So yeah, you can now find these 2 polls in the community section of this channel. Link in the description, of course. Enjoy voting for these polls. I'll be following them with much attention. These polls will be running until Tuesday the 5th of February at 8 p.m. this time. Setting the deadline at 12 p.m. was a bad idea because I was sleeping at this time. Thanks for watching the video. See you next week when I'll be opening the Discord channel and starting the brainstorming session. And again, prepare to press play has already been said. Get hyped to press the play button.